Hi folks, welcome to Time to Talk with Rachel Bean. Had such a lovely hour talking to Rachel about all things to do with dogs, rescue dogs, first aid, street dogs, soy dogs, real lovely insight into all of the wonderful things that Rachel does. So get yourself a cup of tea, settle back and enjoy an hour of talking to Rachel Bean. Thanks for listening. Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Hi folks, I'm here with the lovely Rachel Bean and I'm really looking forward to talking to her. I've known Rachel for a little while now and she does so many things. I've got this big list. I've printed off her Facebook page to make sure I cover everything. But yeah, we're just going to go for it and just ramble and chat and see where it takes us. So Rachel, hello, how are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. You've been busy. I see you everywhere at the minute. You're like,
yeah. Well, yeah. But I think because of COVID, I mean, it'd be so easy just to kind of drop off the end of a cliff, wouldn't it, and disappear. But I think, you know, if you pick up any business after this is all over, we've got to keep current and keep in the loop, keep out there. So yeah. So things like this, interviews and stuff, is it's fab.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? Just to be able to connect with people and let people know what's happening. And for me, this podcast is all about the people behind the brand. So I know a lot of people have been doing do first aid with you and let's talk about different types of first aid. But for me, I want to get to the person behind the amazing Rachel Bean, who does all these wonderful first aid courses and who travels all over the place and looks after dogs. So the most important question, I suppose, is why veterinary nursing? So you tell me what you are first, and then I'm going to unpick everything.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So
yeah, I mean, I started 1994. I started at the Dogs Trust, which was then the National Canine Defence League. So if you can remember that, then
I can remember the National Canine Defence League.
Yeah. So that was actually a brand new, the Darlington branch, Sadbridge branch, because I'm originally from the northeast. So yeah, it was that original. It was brand new kennels at the time. I'd left school. I was kind of like 24, I think. Yeah. So I had like a job, a part-time job that just wasn't me. And a part-time job working on a farm near my dad's. So it wasn't really. Yeah. So anyway, the kennels opened up at Darlington, which was about 15 miles away from my dad's house, which is where I was living at the time. And he said I was going for the what was the kennel maid's job. Now it's canine carers, you know, to make it more politically correct.
Oh, very politically correct.
Yeah, back then it was kennel maid. But also the assistant manager's job was going up as well. And I was young. I'd obviously been around dogs, but family dogs and what have you. My dad has does some rough shooting and what have you, and farm dogs, sheep dogs and what have you. And so I had no experience in management and that kind of thing. So my dad said, just go for the assistant manager's job as well. So I did, and I didn't think anything of it. And yeah, I got the job. And then I pooped myself. So I thought, oh no.
Oh my God, what have I just agreed to?
Yeah, but luckily, because it was a brand new kennels, actually when I started there was just me and the manageress. There was no staff. There was no dogs. So it actually helped because I was there from dog one. And before I know it, you're in that role, and 6 months down the line, you've got 140 dogs, looking after.
Did you design the kennels as well, Rachel? If you were first in, did you design the kennels as well? Because I know some of the kennels, you look at these rescue kennels and you go, they're amazing, and some of them you go, ooh, they need.
Yeah, it was already built. Yeah, it was already built. Yeah, and it was the first Dogs Trust kennels that what we call the cake slice kennels. So it was the circular kennels.
Oh, yeah.
So they had 4 of those. I think they might have changed again. I mean, this is 25 years ago. But I think there was 2 Dogs Trust branches that had the cake slice kennels. So there was a central area where there's a little kitchen area, the prep was done, and then the central area is quite a lot of space. So each kennel was like a that's why it's cake slice. So people could walk around the outside, and there's shutters in the middle, so you can let them in and out and what have you. Yeah, but it was 140 capacity. We also had the stray kennel, the contract for Darlington Council and
Oh, okay, for the
and
stray
what have you.
dogs.
So, yeah, so stray dogs. So we had, we had dog wardens coming in and out, police coming in and out, RSPCA. So it was really, really a busy shelter. So actually, the 2 years that I was there, it was really good grounding for, what I wanted to continue and do. And yeah, it was just really good experience. Back in those days, it was more dog handling, getting difficult dogs out of kennels.
Yeah.
They did have a euthanasia policy then. It changed probably about 3-4 years after I left, I think, maybe a bit sooner than that, non-destruction policy. But back in those days, we were euthanizing the most difficult dogs. So yeah, I was frontline, very young, but yeah, got a massive amount of experience, handling experience, definitely. I left there. I was there for a couple of years, only because I was assistant manager. I wasn't really hands-on with the dogs as much. It was more staffing issues, dog numbers, tilling up at the end of the day, all that kind of thing. Yeah, so I was young enough, and I thought, well, I'm just going to bite the bullet and just try and qualify as a veterinary nurse. So yeah, I just applied within a 100-mile radius of Darlington, and that's what brought me down to Manchester, really. So the Manchester area. So I've been down here ever since. Yeah.
So you, because I know, well, I don't know actually, but I'm assuming that when you do the vet nursing, you go to college part-time and then you work, because I know from the vets that I've been in contact with, my old vets, there'd be vet nurses who would be working on reception and learning the craft kind of behind, when they weren't on reception, they'd be helping out with operations and looking after the dogs and the cats. And then they would go to college 1 or 2 days a week as well to study for their exams. Is that the standard format?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's slightly changed since I was doing my training. When I left the Dogs Trust in '96, I went straight into practice because I got a job as a student veterinary nurse down near Oldham, but I had to wait about 18 months to start my training because it was quite a small practice. There's already a girl training, so I had to wait until she was finished before I could start. So I was working in practice for about 18 months before I actually started the actual course training. But yeah, back then, similar now, but the only difference now is that they have a degree course, which is a 4-year course. The extra year is in practice management, so that's the only difference really. The way they train is slightly different. It's changed from NVQ, I can't remember the combination, but anyway, back then it was it was one. I did day release, so for 2 years I went to college 1 day a week for 2 years, and that was at Myerscough College, which is an agricultural college near Preston. So yeah, you can do day release or you can do block release. So that means you go to college for 3 weeks at a time and you stay there. I think the degree course, which is full-time at university because it's a degree, and then you get placements. So whatever combination you do it, you have to have a job at a vet's. You have to be working at a vet's. I think it's minimum, don't quote me, it used to be 18 hours a week, I think. But and the practice has to be a training practice. You can't just go to any practice. The practice has to reach a certain standard, and it's got to be a training practice, and there's got to be a mentor there as well. So somebody's got to have the D32, D33 to be a mentor. So you can do that. So either a vet or a veterinary nurse has got to be a mentor there as well. So it's time consuming for the staff. So I think that's what's happened the last few years, because a lot of these big corporates, vets have taken over. Veterinary practice is changing. Yeah. So a lot of nurses, it's difficult to get a nurse training place, basically, because you've got to have the combination of the training practice that's got a place available and the college placement. Get all those three married together, then you're okay. But generally, it's very difficult to get those three married at the same time. Yeah, so
that's really tough, because I can imagine it being a really rewarding profession, but a really difficult profession as well, because I can remember down at Riverside when I was at Marlborough, I used to see the vets a lot, she was a really good friend, and the vet nurse was always the front end for the emergencies coming in, but
Yeah,
also the
yeah,
front end for the stressed owners coming in for a shout and a
yeah. Oh,
campaign.
definitely.
You're
Yeah,
kind of the buffer all the time, aren't you? And then having
yeah. We get it both barrels. You know, really. Yeah. You know, one client might be, you know, you're helping with the euthanasia and you're comforting that client, and then within seconds you've got somebody arguing about the bill. You know, it's like that. Yeah, you've got to be very resilient. Very level-headed. Yeah, definitely.
So have you ever had a break from veterinary nurse? No, that has been your mainstay profession all the way through, because I know you do other things, so I'm going to ask you about them as well. But
Yeah,
the veterinary nursing has been the mainstay, the underpinning.
it is.
All
Yeah,
the way through, yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't be able to do all the other things that I'm doing without my vet nurse degree, without a doubt. And I wouldn't promote a lot of the stuff that I do if I didn't have that qualification and that experience. Yeah. Quite often when you say to somebody, if you're talking about animals or dogs, you say, "Oh, I'm an RVN." They say, "Oh, right, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, go on." Yeah, yeah. I'd just on that subject, a few weeks back, because we've got some really nice. I'm in Saddleworth, so when you go over the tops, we've got lovely reservoirs. There's quite a lot of sheep up there, and somebody on a bad bend had hit like a half-grown lamb, and it was still alive. And I stopped, and this guy, he didn't know what to do. You know, he'd probably never been near a sheep. You know, he was panicking. He didn't know what to do, and I said, "The sheep, yeah, I know who owns them." So I phoned he's got a farm shop, so I phoned the farm shop and I said, "Oh, one of David's sheep has been hit." He said, "How do you know?" I said, "Well, how do you know it's one of David's?" I said, "Well, I phoned Helen up on the hill and she said it's one of David's." Anyway, he came round in his transit, old guy, just a traditional old farmer.
Oh, yeah,
you know, he said, "Oh, right, okay." He says, "You might want to look away, I'm going to shoot it." He had a shoot bolt. I said, "I'm a veterinary nurse." He says, "Oh, right, you can hold it then."
Well, in that case, get your hands in here.
Yeah, yeah. So it is well respected most of the time. Sometimes it's not, you know, but it's usually the people on dog, you know, people on social media and what have you. As soon as you chip in, it's like, "Oh, you think you're a veterinary? You're a veterinary? Just thinking, oh, it's like,
Social media is just
yeah.
I'm sure we'll get onto that at some point. We'll get little morning hats on. But
Yeah.
I think vets and I mean, I would love to do something more hands-on, because you know I teach anatomy and physiology and getting in the thick of it. I can remember having to dissect a fetal pig and just like, oh my god, that's what the diaphragm looks like. Oh, look, if I lift the foot out and if I lift a lung out, I can see that. And it was just absolutely fascinating. It must be really, you must have lots of wow moments when you're working like that, do you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I came out of full-time, just going back to what we were saying before, I came out of full-time practice probably about it must be getting over 10 years now. So I was doing more behaviour stuff and all these other little things came up. So it was just impossible to be still working in full-time practice. It's long shifts, it's weekends and you're on call and that kind of thing. So yeah, I first of all dropped down to 3 days a week. And then I dropped down to just working Fridays for about 4 or 5 months. And before I went full-time self-employed, but I'm a locum. So I've never come out of veterinary nursing. I'm a locum. So that means I can pick and choose when I work. And I've got about 4 or 5 practices, regular ones that I work at the drop of the hat, you know, so it might be somebody that's off ill or on holiday, yeah. And I'm quite handy for them because I don't mind doing just odd days or even just odd mornings, where a lot of locum nurses, they'll only book the work if it's a full week, which I understand, it's for financial reasons, but I'm handy for some vets because I'll just go in, I can just go in, I'm happy to just go in for a day, 1 day a week, sometimes it's just once theatre's finished, I'm just in there just to help in theatre. Once the theatre list's done, then you can go.
You go. Yeah.
So I'm quite flexible. So I'm quite useful for a few vets around here.
That's really handy. One of my nieces is a vet, and she's a locum. She set herself up as a locum, I think it was the beginning of last year, and she loves this. She loves being a locum.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It isn't for everybody. Some people like the stability of being in one practice, and it's quite daunting when you first go because when you go into because I was at the same practice for 13 years, so the practice inside out. As soon as you step out and then go into another practice and the bandages are in a different place and all that kind of thing, it's like, where's this, where's that? Oh, we don't do it like that, and but once you get past that, it's fine.
It's because I used to do contracting in IT, and it's like when you go into that new place, and it's like, now, do I say to them that this other place did it better, or do I just keep my mouth shut? You know, do I give them the advice of my experience and go, oh, well, if you did it this way, or do you just go, you know what, I'm contracting, let me just come in, do what they want me to do, and then be done.
I only really step in with the clinical stuff. I just do their protocols, but sometimes I'll step in if I see somebody trying to get a dog out of the kennel and they're doing it all wrong, you know, or I've got a better way. I'll step in there because that's my role really now, is to pass that knowledge on and those skills on, you know. Sometimes, you know, if you've got like a shepherd or a rottie behind a gate and it's just doing a bit of kennel guarding, but it's not being aggressive, it's just woo 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 woo. So just open the gate, it'll stop. As soon as you open the gate, it'll stop. Oh, well, I'm going out this door. I'll watch through the window. You could do it. Open the gate, comes out. Hello, put it on the lead, and I said it's just guarding. Just open the gate, fine.
How funny. So, I mean, I'm taking it your favourite while you were vet nursing is dogs, or have you got like an exotic that you really love? Or
I didn't really work much with exotics. We used to the practice that I used to be at for 13 years in Rochdale. We had an Australian vet for us for about 2 or 3 years. He's back in Australia now. He's got his own practice. But that means he used to work in a zoo vet in Australia. So he has an awful lot of experience with parrots and things like that, African greys. We used to get the whole of Rochdale's African greys in for wing clipping and nails clipping and what have you. So yeah, he was the main big bird handler, as it were. And when he left, then he said, right, you can do it now. So I managed to do it for a bit, but then you just lose your nerve a little bit. When he's there, it's not too bad. He makes you do it, and he shows you how to catch them properly so you don't get bitten. If you get bitten by a parrot, you'll know about it. Even cockatiels give you a nasty bite. So I managed for about 6 or 8 months, clipping wings and things like that, getting hold of them, but they just you get a few nips and you just lose your bottle a little bit.
I mean, when they open their wings at you, they're huge. I used to have a cockatiel, and even, I mean, they're really noisy little things, aren't they? But they do have a nip. So, Rachel, I know you as a behaviourist more than a vet nurse, although saying that I have been on first aid courses with you. Why did you move across to the behaviour side? What was the turning point for you to go from full-time vet nursing to canine behaviour specialist, which you are, you know, canine behaviour specialist? What was it?
Yeah. I mean, it started back in the Dogs Trust because, you know, back in 1994, because, you know, the majority of dogs that were ended up in the Dogs Trust were because of problem behaviours. So I was working with problem dogs way back then. And you just don't realise that you're doing it, you know, and you're gathering practical experience as you're going along. You just don't realise that you're doing that. And then when I went into veterinary practice, you know, all the puppies coming in, I was just giving advice straight away. You know, a lot of new vet nurses, that they haven't really, unless you've got an interest in it, they don't really concentrate on behaviour. I mean, we still get reports of vets and veterinary nurses giving the most appalling behaviour advice out. It's right, they are, but there's also some really good vets and vet nurses. It's like any profession, isn't there, that are really interested in and really good and will give the correct advice. But I was giving advice right from day one, just because of my 2 years at Dogs Trust. I was working with problem dogs front line, so it was just natural for me, and it just went right through my veterinary nurse career, just to a point where I was getting sort of more serious issues and actually doing proper consultations, and it just went from there really. I think timing age-wise as well, so I'm a similar age to you, aren't you? They're all 50 now. It was like, it was a bit too...
You brought it up. How old are you?
50.
You're not as old as me. You're not as old as me. Somebody asked me the other day, I says, oh, we're the same age, and he says, how old do you think I am? And I says, well, 53, and he went, I'm 48. And I went, oh my God.
So I think timing-wise for me, doing the whole degree thing was just bad timing, really, age-wise. You know, I don't. If I'd been like 30, 35 now, as the dog business is now, I would have gone down the degree route. But because I'm 50 and it's a difficult one. I don't want to be in debt for however many thousands of pounds it costs.
I know.
You know, I don't want to be forever working, being in debt and studying. You know, when do you get to a point where you think, right, use your knowledge that you've got to help people? Don't keep that knowledge and keep studying. So, you know, it's a bit of, it was a bit of a, what do I do? And I think I would only be forced to do a degree because of pressure from other professionals. There's that usual imposter syndrome, pressure from other professionals that always say, you have to have a degree. I'm not a scientist, I'm not an academic, you know. Oh yeah, I've got a good level of intelligence, because to pass a vet nurse degree, it's not an easy course, you know. I've got a degree of intelligence, but I'm not an academic. And the general public, I think if you've got Mrs. Smith that's 72 would do 2 back in Yorkshire Terrier, she doesn't need an academic, you know. She just needs somebody to go in there and help with her on her level to reduce her back in Yorkshire Terriers. I don't think it takes a scientist to do that.
It's really interesting, isn't it?
Experience.
There's a, I mean, I knew you when, I think I knew you before I got my degree, but I mean, the reason I went after my master's was because I was so fed up. I was going up to London, as you know, to all the meetings over the Companion Animal Welfare Council. I was just so fed up of academics telling trainers and behaviourists how to hold the lead and how to do this and how to do that. And they were academics, they weren't on the ground in the front line dealing with aggressive dogs. And so that was what spurred me on to go and get my master's. I think it was bloody mindedness, you know.
But you've had yours a while now, though, haven't you? I mean, it's a good while ago that you
2011.
So,
I mean, I wouldn't afford to do it now, you know. When I did it, it was expensive, but I mean, now
I mean, it was around about that time. It was around about that time I had to make a decision whether to do it or not, and I just decided not to.
I mean, that was the reason I did it.
I mean, I don't think I regret it. You know, it's not hindered me in any way not having it. I just concentrate on my niches really with behaviour now. You know, 10 years ago probably take more or less every case on, but now I just take cases that I would enjoy and I think I can help with. You know, I don't like dog-to-dog aggression, that kind of thing, so I pass them on. You know, I've got my own little niches that I like. So
what is your niche these days? Because
I like sort of the nervous dogs, anxiety, fearful dogs, separation anxieties to a certain degree, street dogs, so I like rescue dogs, the Asian dogs coming over, I like to help those. That's a big debate as well. You know, I'm on the fence whether all these dogs coming over from the UK. That's a big debate as well. Correct puppy choosing, puppy problems.
Oh, Rachel, that sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. I must admit, because you know, when I moved to Scotland, I carried quite a few soft tissue injuries. And I had to stop putting myself in front of aggressive dogs. I had to stop because it was so dangerous for me, because the level of aggression I was working with, if I moved quickly, my knee would give way. And it's like, well, you have to be able to get out of the way of a dog that's going to attack you, otherwise you're going to end up damaged. I
mean, I do deal with aggressive dogs. I'm not avoiding aggressive dogs. It's just the dog-to-dog ones. They're bottom of the list.
What about aggression to people? Is that it's like
I'll do those.
It's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, I don't do as much behaviour work now. I do more the pet and dog stuff and teaching, you know, like yourself. I love teaching, and I know you love teaching. You're a fantastic tutor. I've been on your courses and I think you're an amazing tutor. Your first aid courses I think are fantastic and very much supporting your philosophy, and that is, if you're going to get trained by a first aider, you get trained by a professional and not by a human first aider moving across to the canine world. So is that why you set up your canine first aid company and your canine first aid? For that reason. And also I started off doing this probably about
11, 12 years ago. It was just a one-off actually for Rochdale RSPCA, the manager there, who the practice that I was at for 13 years. We had a really good relationship. That we were their vets, the Rochdale RSPCA, and she just asked me, "Do you want to come in and do some staff training?" She said, "I've got 3 new staff and could do some first aid training." I said, "Yeah, sure. I'll put some work together." And they said, "Can I ask the volunteers?" I went, "Yeah, of course you can." So we had like 14 people, and it was just like a 2.5, 3 hour session really. And she said, "You should do more of this. I'll get Oldham branch, see if they," and it just kind of snowballed from there really. But it's only this last maybe 4 or 5 years it's really taken off. I've really pushed it. And of course, in that same time, yeah, lots of other companies are popping up, which is fine. It's absolutely fine, you know. But I want to use my USP, you know, and I don't see why I shouldn't have to use my USP, you know, unique selling point of being an RVN. You know, I have even on my own page where I've promoted the fact that my courses are run by a veterinary nurse. I've had a couple of competitions come on and have a go at me for promoting that. I said, "This is my page.
Really?
I'm an RVN. I'm going to promote myself." Yeah, so delete. I mean, some of the other companies I get on really well with. You know, we work not side by side, but we communicate. But there are a couple that have given me a hard time. Yeah, and they're not a veterinary professional, and maybe that's why they're a little bit defensive. But yeah. I'm an RVN. I'm going to promote the fact, you know, that I've worked frontline with injuries and emergencies for 25 years.
I mean, it's interesting that you touched on imposter syndrome, because I mean, it's only now, and God, the Pet Gun Dog's been out 10 years, and it's only now that I'm acknowledging myself as an author. So it's only now people saying to me, "What you do?" I'm an author. And it's taken me 10 years to actually promote the fact that, you know, I've got my master's degree and I'm an author. And so imposter syndrome is massive. And it's normally the people who are incredibly good at their job that are constantly striving to improve themselves that suffer from imposter syndrome, because they realise that it doesn't matter how high up you get in your profession or how knowledgeable and amazing you are at it, there's still so much more to learn. Yeah. And it's the people that are coming up that know very little, or rather it's the whole Dunning-Kruger effect. Have you heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect? Yeah. You come off a course and you go, "Oh my God, I'm amazing. I know everything. I'm fantastic." And then it's only after they've had years and years experience that they go, "Wow, there's like so much to learn." And they're the people that suffer from imposter syndrome. And so we do need to promote ourselves and say, you know, for yourself, "I'm an RVN, I've got all this experience, I've been running training courses in canine first aid." And it's the people who haven't quite got that accomplished that will point the finger and say, "Well, why are you promoting yourself as an RVN?" Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I am. I am. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, a bit of a hard time a couple of years back, just because I was outspoken. Well, I'm not outspoken anyway, but for me it was outspoken on my own page about choosing. I mean, maybe there is a space for the ones that are run by human first aid companies, maybe, you know, the PowerPoint type ones, the basic ones, maybe for pet owners or for pet professionals that just want to tick boxes. You know, if there's a pet professional just wants to get the easiest route to be a dog walker or a dog groomer and just wants to do a tick the box exercise, then go to them. Yeah. You know, if you want a bit more knowledge and a bit more interaction and what have you, then come to somebody like me, who's going to put you through a lot more, and you'll learn a lot more information. If you want to learn that much, then go there. If you want to learn that much and learn off of the professionals as well, because, you know, you've been to my course. I don't use PowerPoint. We're around a table. It gives the opportunity for people to share experiences, and maybe have little debates and things like that. You know, sometimes the room can get a little bit heated, but it's good debate, you know. And I'm putting myself out there on the front line, sat at the head of that table, completely leaving myself wide open for any questions. Yeah. I get asked things that only a veterinary professional would know. When you stood up in front of a PowerPoint and there's 30 people, maybe that dynamic doesn't allow that
person that's tutoring to be in that position to get bombarded with veterinary questions. You know, I know some companies that when they do get asked veterinary questions, say, oh, I'll make a note of that. I'll email the vet and I'll get back to you with the answer.
Yeah, I mean, see for me, because you know, I teach behaviour and teach training, and I used to co-teach with Ross as well. And for me, to have the stories, you know, to have that that depth of knowledge behind the questions. So, you know, if I said to you, oh, I don't know, my dog's got a grass seed, what's the best thing to do? Then you would be able to not only tell me what to do with the grass seed, but you would have the stories behind it.
Yeah.
You know, I can remember, oh, when this happened and that happened and we did this to this dog and that to that dog. And if you haven't got the depth of knowledge, or if you're not working in the field, you haven't got the stories to educate people, because we like being taught by stories, don't we? We're storytellers as a species. And I think somebody who can't do that is just not, they're not displaying underpinning knowledge, and therefore they're not getting the information across to the people who are attending courses with them.
Yeah, definitely. And that's like that 5 years back. That's one reason why I started working in Asia as well, voluntarily, because first of all I had the opportunity, but secondly, it's always something I wanted to do, and I kind of put it off for years and years, and I thought, no, I'm going to go traveling again and experience this. So I did, and by doing that, being in the shelters working with street dogs, you see the most extreme situations. You know, don't want to go into too much detail, but it's just more extreme injuries, the quantity of injuries as well. So usually road traffic accidents, traumatic injuries that you're dealing with, and things that you just don't see in this country. From the diseases that distemper is rife in Thailand and in India. Yeah. Last time I saw a distemper case as a vet nurse, well, it was actually before I was a vet nurse, while I was working for Dogs Trust, so it's like 26, 27 years ago. That's the last time I saw a case of distemper in the UK, personally. But I see 10 cases every time I go to Asia. It's rife, yeah. And then things that again you just don't see in this country. So monkey bites, cobra bites, scorpion bites, all those kind of fascinating things. Yeah. Yeah, so I think it just brings that even extra depth of knowledge, underpinning knowledge, like you said as well. Yeah.
God, what experience! Because I know where I used to live, there was it was the highest concentration of adders in the country, and so we were always prepared for adder bites. Yeah. We always carried Piriton, and we always had the phone call ready to get there, and homeopathic remedies as well for it. But coming across things like monkey bites, it must just be amazing. And I have seen a lot of the videos that you put up, because I'm really interested in it more when you put the behaviour videos up, you know, of the dog moving around and just watching the behaviours that you see, because you see them more in packs, don't you, in the street packs, which we don't see over here now. And that must be fascinating. Yeah,
it is. You know, they have, especially in India, we saw, I mean, it happens in Thailand as well, but when I was staying in India, we were actually we were in Bangalore, so it was actually quite busy. So, and you could see the definite stopping points where certain packs of dogs will stop. That's their territory boundary. Just ends of streets, you know, just boom, stop. And you could see when one crossed over, it got nailed by the neighbouring pack.
But you see, because I find that really interesting, because I'm very much into like the pack mentality as you are as well, you know, and I find it really funny when people are out on the walks and go, well, I want my dog to say hello to all the dogs, but in their head, if you're walking them in the same circuit over and over again, then you've got to expect your dog to kick off if a new dog comes into that territory, because by walking them in the same place over and over again, you are delimiting the territory for that dog. So when it sees another dog, it's natural behaviour, it's intrinsic behaviour for them to mouth off at the dog and stay out of my territory. And so to see that in action must be fantastic. I can remember from when I was a kid, because it was before, you know, our dogs could still roam, and my dog used to pack up with a couple of the dogs in the street, and like that, if the streets we were in Fieldwin, if any of the dogs from Summerhill came round, the dogs would be, you know, squaring, oh, you're a Summerhill dog, you know, back off kind of thing.
Yeah. That's why I think, you know, badly run daycares and things like that is I'm not totally. I mean, I'm not totally anti-dog daycare, but because I do a lot of teaching in them, the first aid. But I have some, a couple of friends that have got some really well-run ones. But when you see the badly run ones, where there's just packs of dogs running around and looks like, oh, they're all enjoying it. No, they're not.
Yeah, no, they're all having fun. Look, yeah, okay. Not really.
Yeah, but we could sit for hours unpicking all that.
It's interesting, is it? Because do you think your attitude has changed over dog behaviour over the last few years? Are you kind of
Yeah.
more, oh, are you more, have you kind of?
Yeah, I think I've become more, especially this last year, definitely more passionate about seeing all these videos on social media and people sharing them, thinking the dogs are all right. Before I might just say, ignore them, but now I'll put comments. If I see another pet professional put a video of I don't know what's the one going around at the moment where the dogs are being pushed down that plastic slide.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
What is that?
I've seen a handful of pet professionals sharing that, and I mean I might have left it before, but now I put. Can you not see what's happening in this video? Like the tubes that kids go down on the swimming baths.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's on like an end of a building. I'm not sure whether it's a doggy daycare. I don't know, but it's a clear plastic tube about that wide. And obviously the dogs are being pushed down the top, and the dogs are sliding down backwards. And every dog that comes out, the dogs are attacking it. Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah.
Oh, that's horrific.
And you'll have seen the peanut butter one with the cling film and the peanut butter spread, and then letting the dog.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm putting really serious comments on those now because we shouldn't be sharing those. It's not okay to do that.
I mean, so my camera's going out of focus. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen many of them at all. And, I can't tell if it's my eyes or my camera. But one of the pictures fell off the wall the other day and it hit my camera because my camera's on the wall for when I'm teaching.
Oh,
that can get the whole room in when I'm teaching.
Yeah.
And one of the photos fell off the wall the other day. That's it. And my camera kind of went, so I'm trying to put it right. So sorry. I haven't seen them because I get really frustrated where you see, trainers are really getting into proprioception now.
Yeah.
Proprioception exercises. And you go, you know what, that dog's really unfit and you're not doing it any favours by doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I find those videos really
irritating.
cringy. They really make me, they really make me cringe. And you see people doing things, because, I'm really hot on age appropriate training, and you see them doing things with young dogs and you go, well, that's a potential cruciate damage and this is going to oh my God, what are you doing? Why are you pushing people so hard to be doing this? But I haven't seen that slide one, Rach. I haven't seen it at all. That's horrific.
I'll send you it. Yeah, I won't, because what I'm trying not to do is perpetuate the sharing of it, because when I critiqued the a few weeks back the peanut butter on the cling film on the head one, I put it out there, the full video, saying, right, why is this not okay? Blah, 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 blah. But what people were doing, were not reading what I'd written. No. And they were sharing the video with laugh comments. And I had to re-message them and said, no, the idea is not to share it. The idea is that this is not correct. Oh, right, I just thought it was a funny video. So I was like, so I had to undo all that. So I kind of inadvertently caused it to be shared another 20 times. So now I just take like a freeze frame of it, and so people actually can't see the video and what have you.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Somebody asked last week, oh, it's just a photograph, the video's not there. I said, yeah, because I don't want the video, I don't want it perpetuated, being shared.
Because I find that as well, where we're doing the Put the Camera Down campaign. We've been running that.
Yeah, because I sent you a couple of links of videos. Yeah. I think one got deleted. I think Ross shared the Malinois one. I think that got deleted. Yeah. But the Bull Terrier one, the pit bull one, that was pretty scary.
It's some of the stuff we see. Because I was doing all the editing for Put the Camera Down, and I had to stop doing it because it was so upsetting, you know, because to try and find the clips to put them together and then edit them and put them into a sequence, I'd be watching people, the same clip of somebody getting beat about 30 or 40 times when I was editing, and it was just it was just doing my head in, really, you know. Years of doing it.
I mean, I think there's quite a lot of social media pages have come off recently. I mean, I was on a Fox Red Lab one for a few weeks, and there was some useful stuff on there. And you know, the lady that had the page had a few Fox Red Labs, just working gun dogs and that kind of thing. So I thought, it might be all right. But there's lots of pet owners coming on, and not only was that not getting to me, but I was like, oh, like all these pet owners were getting these Fox Red Labs, and then they were saying, why is this dog doing this? Why is the dog ripping its beds open? Right? Because it's a working dog and you've got it as a pet. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have them as pets, but when you take these breeds on, and the breeds, obviously, you know, then actually it has to be a full-time hobby. You know, you've got to give the dog something to do as well. You've got to be interested in what the dog wants to do, and give it a job. The old line, give it a job. But that was upsetting me. I was seeing these Fox Red Labs, like I could see the work potential in them, and that these dogs were just like frustrated, you know. And then somebody put a video on a few weeks back, just as a few weeks into lockdown, of a lovely Fox Red Lab bitch in her bed, and a child was playing vets or doctors with the dog. Full kids doctors set out with stethoscope, and it was poking things in the dog's ear. And luckily this dog was really, you know, it was tolerating it, but there must have been about 60 comments saying, oh, this is lovely,
it's not
this
lovely.
Is my dog. And it must have showed about 10 micro body language signs that it wasn't comfortable, lip licking and just looking at its owner like that. And I was the only person out of about 60 comments that said, this is not right. That dog is not comfortable. The dog's tolerating it, but it's not brilliant. First of all, the dog, you know, dog's in its bed. That's the first rule you teach kids, not to approach a dog in its bed. Oh my God, I got absolutely roasted.
It's ridiculous.
Roasted. Yeah. I was called an armchair behaviourist. Oh, I was called all the names under the sun, just for standing up and saying, this shouldn't be happening. This is how dog bites happen. Yeah. If that was another breed, I don't want to pick on any breeds, but if it wasn't a lab and another breed, that child may have been bitten. Not I'm saying labs do bite, and you know, but you know what I mean. If the dog hadn't been so tolerant, And when I saw the page owner put a love heart on the video, that's what I said. Right, I'm out. I just deleted myself off. I was just getting more and more worked up about it.
It's hard, isn't it? I mean, I'm a member of some groups on Facebook, and I've stopped going in them, actually, other than advertise. My thing. You can advertise one day a week, so I go in and advertise, and I don't get involved. And you know, there was one that went up a couple of months ago, and I kind of went, oh God, you know, I'm so done with this. And it was a gun dog group, and my spaniel, I think it was, is chasing rabbits and squirrels, and it's having a great time. And I was like shaking my head, and people were going, oh, let it chase, it's fine, it's 10-month-old, it's still a puppy.
Oh my
it
God.
Doesn't matter if it catches a couple of rabbits, it'll be fine, you know, you've got plenty of time to sort it out. And I was sitting there going, okay, so it's rabbits today, and then it'll be sheep, and then it'll be across the main road, and then it'll be kids. And you just think, you know, you shouldn't be allowing your dog to chase and kill. That's not acceptable under any circumstances, you know, and especially more so if you're going to train it as a gun dog, you need to teach your dog to pull back the kill instinct. And so this is a group, it's got a couple of thousand people in the group, and they're all going, oh, that's lovely, you've got loads of time, you let it grow out of it. And I'm sitting there going, actually, you know, you really haven't. It needs to stop. Social media at the minute, and I do enjoy social media, and I do think it's got a lot of benefits. But it's also got that whole mentality of the people who get the most likes or the most, you know, give me a love heart, all of that stuff. People are thinking that the experts or people are going in for the most number of likes rather than going for expertise, because anybody can set themselves up as an expert, as a keyboard expert. And I can remember years ago on the forums, it was before Facebook, so God, it would have been the Yahoo. Do you remember the Yahoo group?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the old Yahoo group. That's showing your age, Rach.
Yeah. MySpace.
Sorry?
MySpace.
I didn't do MySpace. It was always I'm sliding down as well. It was always the Yahoo groups. And I can remember seeing, the title underneath people's names. And it would be, expert or something else or something else or something else. And they got the title because of the amount of posts that they'd written or answered to.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still like that on Facebook now, isn't it? The people with the most likes or the biggest following, they might not necessarily know what they're talking about. But because they're saying all of the right words, quite often in a fluffy way, like liking seeing children play vet nurse with a dog all over the bed, they're the people that others listen to because it's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Rather than saying it. It's a real issue at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely an issue. It's getting worse for sure. Yeah, and it's easy to make negative comments and berate somebody, isn't it? From behind a keyboard warriors.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
Bless them.
Yeah.
Bless them. So something I do want to ask you about, definitely want to ask you about, is street dogs. And it's not, you go through, and I'm not going to say which organisation you work with because I don't want to get it wrong, because I know there's a couple, but I know that you go out and help people who are living on the streets with their dogs.
Yeah.
It was something that I can remember contacting you and saying, oh God, I would love to get in touch with this. And what did you say to me? Can't remember. You said, you can't do it, Les, because you're not veterinary.
Oh, yes.
And I was gutted, and it was like, I want to help. What can I do? I want to help. Let me help. Like, no, not qualified. I've got a master's. Yeah, not good enough. You're not in the veterinary profession, go away. So one is
yeah, I mean, it's grown so much. I mean, we've got it's street paws basically. So this was developed by a brilliant lady called Michelle Southern from Newcastle. So it actually started in Newcastle. She was working for a vet practice. She was vet practice manager, I think, I can't remember. And she used to do a lot of soup kitchens, helping soup kitchens in Newcastle. And she noticed that quite a lot of the vulnerable and vulnerably housed and homeless people had dogs. So she started to concentrate on the dogs' care, making sure they were fed, what have you. Yeah, so that was the first city actually where the vets were involved, and the vets and vet nurses used to go out and help and treat. So it's vaccinations, microchipping, flea and worm treatments. And now it's grown so much. It's 4 years now. We've just turned 4-year-old. We're now in, I think, 29 cities, and I think we are in. We're not doing Scotland because the other charity is Street Vet. So they started up just shortly after us, and they do the south basically. So we've got a gentleman's agreement that we do the north and they do the south, but they're going into Scotland as well. So we do everything in the middle really, north, and I think we're Belfast as well. But so every city has got their own kind of team, if you like. So I'm Manchester, and I'm a trustee, but I'm Manchester coordinator as well. So before lockdown, we go out once a month into the city centre. So we'd split our Friday morning into visiting the Booth Centre, which is a drop-in centre. It's quite a busy drop-in centre. They would get maybe 70 or 80 people a day in there, doing activities, feeding and what have you, and brews and showers and that kind of thing. And there's a room there, there's a couple of office rooms there. So we used to have one of the rooms for a couple of hours, and the dogs used to come in and spend time with us, and we just get to know the dogs and make sure that they had coats, and we clip the nails and flea treatment, check the microchip, all that kind of thing. And then after that we went after the Booth Centre, we then had a wander into town. So Piccadilly Gardens, have a wander around there. If anybody's been Piccadilly Gardens recently, I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted. There's a lot of drug abuse, and and things like. There's lots of undercover police down there, and lots of drug dealers and what have you. So yeah, so we used to go on an evening, and then we had a bit of a meeting with the homeless detective down there. He tapped me on the shoulder one night when I was in there. He says, "Are you Rachel Bean?" And yes, I was in Piccadilly Gardens. I turned around, and they just broke a smile. I said, "Oh, you cops, aren't you?" And yeah, come and have a chat. And they were just a bit worried about us being out there at night time, really.
Okay.
It's a little bit. So yeah, we changed it to during the day. But yeah, now we're on lockdown. Obviously, we can't go. But I have done a few food drops, because what's happening, the council have put most of the homeless people into accommodation, either hostels or hotels. It's funny, isn't it, that they can do that during this, but they can't do it before.
Normally, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what's happened, because they're not on the street, the dogs are not getting fed, because normally the dogs get fed by members of the public. You know, they'll sit outside Sainsbury's and Marks and Spencer's and, you know, the corner Tesco's in the city centre, and people go in and buy food for the dogs as well as the owner. So because of being you know, in hotel rooms on lockdown, then the dogs are not getting fed, and obviously they haven't got finances. So yeah, we've had a few calls. So normally we don't do the food thing, because we're vets and vet nurses. We tend to do the medical stuff. There's plenty of people doing food drops for the dogs, but yeah, I mean, I've got a good relationship with Manchester Dogs Home, and they had a lot of food spare, so I went and picked a car full of food up from them about 2 weeks back, and I did a food drop. So I've you know, the hotels, so it's about 5, I think, of our regular dogs that were just running out of food. Yeah, so
yeah, because I was watching it, and I'd been following it for ages when you're doing it, and I thought I'd really like to do something up here in Glasgow, because I'm between Glasgow and Edinburgh, and I thought it's really cool to get involved with both. I think street
vet are in Glasgow, I think, so it might be worth contacting them. But I think it is vets. Yeah, but we are. They might need kind of like support staff, but more it's more the fundraising side. You know, if you're not interested in that. I mean, I'm not really very good at doing that. No, I have to leave that to somebody else. Yeah. Mind you, I did manage to do some fundraising for Land to Animal Welfare. If you saw my videos last week, one of my interviews, I interviewed Junie Kovacs, who's the founder of Land to Animal Welfare on Koh Lanta Island, which is Thailand, which is one of the shelters that I help at. So yeah, it was a bit of a rare interview, because she's quite shy, really. So she had to have the vet next to her to help her. But,
I saw that there was somebody.
Yeah, it was a lovely interview. So it was really just to see what they're doing, and I managed to drum up some fundraising. I did a donate button and what have you. So we got about 800 quid. So that'll actually go quite a long way over there as far as food, you know, feeding. Because what they're having to do now, because it's lockdown and it's quite a transient island as regards tourists. It's a bit of a tourist party. It's not a party island like PP is, but it's popular, you know. So no tourists, and the restaurants are not open, so the street dogs are not getting fed. So Junie actually sent me some little video footage of them feeding the dogs last week out and about. So I've just put a video together this morning. So I just put it on this morning if you want to have a look.
I will, definitely.
Yeah, I did that. So yeah.
God, that's great. So, I mean, everything must be up in the air as to when you're going to be back out and about and doing things, and it's all a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually quite enjoying the break, to be honest, because I was working flat out, and it's only when you actually stop, because you're forced to stop, that you realise that you're working too hard. Yeah, but yeah, all the face-to-face canine first aid workshops just stopped in March, so we're on kind of rescheduling them, probably September, maybe not even September, maybe back end of September onwards. I am writing my course online as well, which is a big pivot for me. You know, I was always not 100% dead against it, but I think while I've got this opportunity to write it, it's going to be good for people that maybe can't make a course, or they just want a little pet owners that want a little bit more self-knowledge, people that maybe don't like you know, being in groups or socialising, or can't drive, or whatever. Yeah, so I think there's a little niche for an online one, and I've made it quite personal as well. All the photographs are real cases. You know, I just pulled them off the internet. Any demonstrations I've done on my dogs, so I just filmed a couple this morning, put a tourniquet on Wisp and that kind of thing. So they're actually my dogs, you know, that are
Brilliant.
demoing and what have you. So hopefully that'll be a little bit different from all the other ones. Some of the other companies are doing virtual classrooms and stuff. Yeah.
Virtual classrooms are hard. I'm doing that at the minute because that last week was when the instructors were supposed to be up in Scotland for the first practical course, and we've put it back until the end of August. And I was teaching last week. I'm teaching again on Saturday, and it's really difficult trying to get everything across like this when you're teaching, and you want interaction, and you want questions, and you want, you know, here, have a feel, this is this piece of equipment, pass it around and have a play with it. Well, you can't, can you? So it's
that's it. Yeah,
tricky. But are you still doing your written side of it, you know, the OCN side of it?
Yeah. I mean, those. I mean, we're hopefully going to get them through as a qualification, but I'll be using a satellite. So yeah, I've got a couple of satellite. Hopefully, CIDVT. But obviously, everything's on hold at the moment. It's just stalled at the moment. So we just got to wait till everything fires back up again. Yeah.
And in the meantime, you've got balance in your life, and you can do other things, and you can go online and you can interview people, and you can be interviewed. And that was great. I just wondered, now you did a lot with Manchester Dogs Home, didn't you, before we finish off, because that was something that was in the papers. Craigie, how long ago was it now?
6 years ago, I think.
6 years.
Yeah, I think so. The fire.
The fire, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 6 years ago. Yeah, 7 years ago maybe. Yeah.
Is that when you started getting involved with them, or were you involved with them before then?
No, I was involved with them before that. Yeah. I only really go if they've got like a super serious problem dog. Sometimes they just need a third opinion. Unfortunately, I mean, I do like working at the blunt end of rescue. You know, I've worked at the corporate side, and now I'm working on you know, at the blunt end really. And euthanasia sometimes has to be, you know, has to happen. You know, Manchester, that's the clue. Manchester, like a lot of big cities, has a big gang culture. Some of the dogs that end up at Manchester Dogs Home have been picked up, you know, by dog wardens and what have. They've just been turfed out by gangs. These dogs are not safe. You can't send them off to a family home, you know. So unfortunately, decisions have got to be made. Yeah.
Are there still lots of dogs getting turfed out that were bait dogs?
I think I don't think they so much get turfed out. I think they get discovered. Usually, unfortunately, they don't live to survive. You know, they don't live to tell the tale. Yeah. It's a difficult one. I think because I'm not really actively involved in the dogfighting thing. I mean, I could find out, but I don't think it's reduced because of the different cultures we have now in the UK. You know, a lot of the dogfighting rings, I have to say, are foreigners, you know, because it's not illegal in their country. So when they come over to this country, then they just carry on their sport. Yeah. So it's we certainly have to be more vigilant now. Dog theft, you know, letting your dogs being spotted. You know, I don't leave the dogs in the car or anything like that, in anywhere town-wise, because you can't leave them tethered out. You know, it'd be nice sometimes, you know, if Rob's faffing around in the garden, is just leave the dogs out. And it's not too bad if I'm there, but I won't. If I go out and leave the dogs, like I'm paranoid. I just said, because we have, you know, the white vans going up and down our street slowly. They're just looking for stuff, you know. Oh, there's two nice dogs at, you know, number whatever.
And there's so many delivery men out now as well. You can't, you know, a lot of the guys who are like delivering for Amazon or for DPD, and they're using hire vans and they're white vans, and so people are now used to white vans coasting up and down the street. Oh, it's just a delivery driver that's got lost. and
Yeah.
before you know it, the dogs have gone.
Yeah.
I'm like you, I'm paranoid. My dogs do not go in the garden on their own at all.
Yeah.
And if we're in the back and the door's open, the back door's open, if I can see the dogs, it's fine. If I can't see them, I'm out there, you know, come
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, it just makes my
Yeah,
blood.
it wouldn't take much to get a Labrador in a van, would it? Yeah, just
Well, I don't know, Dante's like, he's back off, mate, and you're going, yeah. I mean, even now I go to give him a bit of food, you know, if I've got like a strawberry heart or something, I'll go, do you want this? And he like have a good sniff of it. It's like, what are you giving me? What are you giving me? I might have it.
Yeah, both of mine would be straight in there.
Would they? It's so funny. No, Spud would, my spaniel would. Dante's really discerning. He's like, I don't know, what have you got? Can I have it? And he won't take stuff automatically. He has a good old sniff around it. And
Yeah.
then instead of taking it, he's not your typical, what the class is a typical lab at all.
Yeah.
So are you still going to be involved with hydrotherapy, Rachel, when we go out?
Hydrotherapy, yeah. I mean, I do the refresher, the first aid refreshers for the National Association of Registered Canine Hydrotherapists. So yeah, and we're just working on being back in with the CHA because they've changed all their standards. So we're just working through that as well. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a discipline I really like. So. I've had a little bit. I've not passed any of the courses or anything, but I've had a little bit of tuition, you know, here and there from hydrotherapists. Marie Johnston, who is the veterinary physio for the UK, the GB agility team and all that kind of thing. Yeah, she's really good. So yeah, she's given me a few lessons. And a couple of others. So yeah, I've got a basic knowledge enough to, when I go up to Asia, is to actually teach just some basic, and I mean really basic. I mean, one of the shelters that I went to in Bangalore in India, they had a pool, and it was a pool but with no filtration. So what they had to do was they filled it with water on the Sunday, and then they emptied it on Wednesday, because by the time I had a few dogs in over 48 hours, it was filthy. They just pulled the plug and refilled it. But what they were doing, they were standing on the outside of the pool, and these poor dogs that were like paraplegic, they were pulling them around the pool with a rope from the side. And it's not that they, you know, they didn't mean to do any harm. They just didn't know how to do it properly. Yeah. So I said, right. And I got in the pool and put harness on, showed them exactly how to do it with these disabled dogs. Yeah. So even just those tiny changes was really beneficial. Yeah.
But they would have loved that as well, because you've got people doing their absolute best they can for the dogs, not realising like the damage potentially that they're causing, but you know, doing it with a good heart and good intention.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they must have been thrilled to have somebody like you go, well, actually, if you do it like this, much better for the dog and beneficial all around, which is awesome.
Yeah, so it's really rewarding as well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you're awesome. I think all the stuff that you do is amazing, and I've worked with you quite a bit over the years and at Crufts and put my head together on court cases, and it's just been great. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen for you when we come out of lockdown, and definitely be on one of your first aid courses again, because I thoroughly enjoyed it last year in Scotland. It was great.
Yeah,
really
brilliant. Yeah, I'll have to get myself back up to Scotland. I mean, it helps that I've got some family up there. So my brother and sister are in Edinburgh, so because my sister's a vet.
Okay.
So, yeah. My brother's town planner. He's just come back from New Zealand. Actually, he's just had 2 years in New Zealand with his girlfriend, who's a doctor. So they've been back maybe 3 or 4 months now. Yeah.
Where in New Zealand were they?
No, my friend's in Auckland, who I'm interviewing tonight. Other end of Auckland, Wellington.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So
windy. It's really windy in Wellington.
I get mixed up where everybody is. Yeah, Wellington.
Yeah, I couldn't cope with it. We drove down, me and a friend drove down from Auckland when the premiere of Return of the King came out.
Yeah.
We drove down, and I mean, it was amazing driving through like all these snow-capped mountains and stuff, but oh my God, it was so windy. It was unbelievably windy.
Yeah, I've been to Auckland. the vet nurse that I'm interviewing tonight, she was just a bit of a kid, really, 16-year-old, when I was doing my vet nurse training. So I've known her like over 25 years. So she's in New Zealand now. I don't think she's just finished a vet nurse and she's doing more behaviour stuff. But she's got a good little business over there. So I'm interviewing her tonight. So it's weird because she's got this New Zealand accent now, from a broad Oldham accent. Like,
she's a Kiwi.
Yeah.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah.
I think it's an easy accent to pick up. I think it is.
Yeah.
My son, when we come back from New Zealand, my son had a bit of a New Zealand twang, and it was.
Yeah, some people pick up accents, don't they? I do. My brother came back after 2 years. His accent's not changed, but I know I would pick it up. I remember when I was about 14, I went on holiday to Tenby in Wales with another family, my friend, one of my best friends at the time, with their family, for like a week or 10 days in Tenby, and I came back with a Welsh accent.
No.
Yeah.
I don't pick accents up. Thankfully, I don't. I've lived all these different places, and I've never come home with an accent other than.
They still got your northeast accent.
Just a tempering, you know. It's like you talk slowly, you drop all the slang, you don't use. But since I've moved to Scotland, I am picking up some Scottish words. Yeah,
my sister's her accent hasn't changed, but she's picking up Scottish words. Yeah, because her other half he's Scottish as well. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm from Durham, so I had a Durham accent, but I haven't got it. I haven't got it now. It's kind of a mixed Lancashire Durham accent. There's some words that like when I say toast.
A bit of toast and good film.
Yeah, but apart from that, I've got a weird accent now.
I didn't know you were from Durham.
Yeah,
like the Prince Bishops.
Yeah, Barnard Castle.
I knew you were from Barnard Castle. I knew that because I've seen you doing a lot of Barnard Castle stuff.
Yeah.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely little town. Yeah, really nice. Mm.
So have you got more interviews lined up?
I have, yeah. I've got Kelly tonight. Tomorrow I've got Claire Lawrence, who's High Peak dog trainer, tomorrow. And then Friday I'm interviewing one of the vets that I work with here, actually. She's a mobile vet. So she does a lot of holistic stuff. So you might be interested, actually, because she does veterinary acupuncture on dogs. And I go along with her sometimes for house visits. So if she's got a cat that she needs to take blood off and what have you, she'll just give me a ring. She says, "Oh, you're free at 2 o'clock." I say, yeah. Oh, can you just come and hold this cat? So so we do work together. And her and her husband, they're both German, and her and her husband worked for the PDSA for a lot of years. And then he's gone into private practice, and then she started a mobile vet practice. So I'll interview her tomorrow. I've got the times to sort out. I've got so I'm trying to interview people that have got a dog link but are not just like dog trainers or
me too.
that kind of thing. Just so I met Juliet Myers in January. We were doing a seminar together. She was on the next day. I did an hour on a seminar on street dogs, or working with street dogs, and she was on the next day. And she's a comedian, and she's got a rescue dog from Portugal called Homer. So she writes for Sarah Millican, the radio show, and 8 out of 10 Cats. So she's a stand-up comedian anyway. And so I'm going to interview her hopefully next week sometime. So that'll be a bit of a hoot. And she's mad as a bucket of frogs. And Wednesday next week, hopefully, again, it's somebody I've known for 25 years, who I met at Dogs Trust, is Diane Newdale, who is the original Jet from Gladiators. Yes. So,
I know about your relationship with Jet.
So we're going to do one, and just about how we met and dogs, and because she hasn't got a dog at the moment, just because of her lifestyle. Really, she's always moving around and teaching, and what she's doing now, and all that kind of thing. So hopefully next Wednesday, we just need to sort of time out. So I think that's it up to now. Yeah.
Great. Oh, have fun with it. Have fun. Rachel, it's been an absolute joy having you, and I can't believe how quickly the time goes. As soon as I start talking to somebody, it's just like, okay, I've got to say goodbye now. It's been great talking to you, and then this will go out as a podcast as well, because I've got it running as a podcast as well as a video.
Yeah, excellent.
Which is great. So I hope when we come out of lockdown, it just all goes way for you, but keep your life balance as well, because that's really important.
Yeah,
I
think
and so in demand, it's really easy just to lose.
It is.
We're bed really, and we're resting, and
yeah. I think that's what happens. But you know, people can tell you till they're blue in the face, you know, stop working so hard. But when you're in it and doing it, and you know, I went for so many years working as a vet nurse with very low wages, and then you know, just built this up over the last 10 years, and then boom, you're in demand, and it's not, you know, it's really difficult to say no, because that's what you've worked towards, is to get all this work coming in. But yeah, hopefully after this is all finished, it'll be a more sensible approach, she says.
Well, hopefully you'll have it so that you can get your online course done, and then that can just take care of itself. You don't have to be there presenting it all of the time, so that'll take quite a bit.
And I've got 3 or 4 other ideas for courses as well. I mean, I could do a cat one online, and you know, there's a few other ideas I'm kind of throwing around.
Great. That would be really cool. Rachel, it's been awesome talking to you, and I'm sure I'll talk to you again really soon.
Yeah, thank you for asking me. It's great.
Oh, my pleasure. You take it steady, have fun.
I will.
Here's to the end of lockdown, huh?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for coming on, Ray.
All right, no problem.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.